You fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this: never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Why do you have to insert your horny into the fart gas ghost story?
Welcome to episode 38 of The Horror of Babylon. I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
You.
Oh yeah, I didn't say what we were talking about. We're talking about the anime adaptation of Gyo. And guess what? Hef's here too.
Gyo.
I need to think of a clever way to introduce Hef when he's here. And we accidentally left the door open, and this thing crawled in from the streets.
That's actually how I believe you introduced me. It was like I was a homeless person in a garbage bag on the episode.
I mean, he was initially going to just introduce of Matt, so...
I told you that in confidence.
Can we, do a thing where we just make, Horror of Babylon canon things? Things
sure.
that are actually, inside jokes of the show?
Sure.
I think that should be one of them.
Okay. Alright, so this is our last reminder. We will be attending the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant, West Virginia on Saturday, September 17th. If you are going to be in the area, please hit us up. We'd love to meet any listeners of the show. And without further ado, let's jump into Gyo. This is the first time I've seen it. Is this also the first viewing for you guys as well?
Yep.
I wanted to mention this before. I have a funny story regarding this particular little OVA. In my head, I was getting ready, making notes and stuff for all the, the podcast and everything like that, getting everything set up to come out here and talk to you guys about this. I got to work today, and I printed off the thing here so that we could talk about it. And I read something that for some reason hadn't clicked for about a week.
Okay.
And I read the letters GYO. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Gyo. Which is what we're talking about. I spent the last 2 weeks looking at this and being like, okay, so what do I need to remember for Uzumaki? So I sat down at work literally 3 hours before I came here during a break period and looked online on a company machine for a quick episode or quick something online somewhere with Gyo, thinking, okay, I can avoid the ads and all the bad stuff that I'm supposed to avoid at work.
Oh boy.
Okay. I found a video, I clicked on it, and I started watching it at 3 times speed because the internet there is very good. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm like, okay. And then about 10 minutes into the 3 times speed, I noticed this rather visceral fucking that I wasn't quite ready to see. And I'm like, I don't remember that from the book. And then my coworker walked up and said, what are you doing? And I had to turn off the screen of the computer because there was visceral fucking happening at 3 times speed on the computer.
It was a double penetration.
You needed it to happen as fast as you finish,
So then I turned off the video, and then I had to do actual work, and then I came here.
So you've seen up to that part?
Yes.
Okay.
HR's gonna call you in the morning.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I don't think you're missing a lot.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Jumping into background, this is an OVA or an original video animation from 2012 produced by the studio UFO Table, who also brought us Demon Slayer and Fate Stay Night. It is based on a manga by Junji Ito, which we covered in last week's episode. It was directed by Takayuki Hirao, who is also an episode director on series you may have heard of, Death Note, Attack on Titan, Paranoia Agent. And key animation was done by Ryota Furukawa, who also worked on Dead Man Wonderland and the Evangelion Rebuild movies.
Okay, well, the Eva rebuilds are starting to make a lot of sense with this movie.
Yeah. Don't normally quote from Rotten Tomatoes, but it has a 0 critical score because no critics have watched it, and its audience score is 23%. So let's go ahead and jump into structure and themes, and I want to talk about first how this film fares as an adaptation. The first thing that's real obvious, the low-hanging fruit, is the protagonist has changed from Tadashi to Kaori.
It's fine. It doesn't really affect much of anything.
I thought I was watching the wrong movie the first time. When I was watching this like that earlier today, I'm just like, this doesn't seem like what I was looking for at all.
So I thought adding in 2 friends was sort of an interesting choice that had some pros and some cons.
Flip-flopping Tadashi and Kaori isn't super important, but what actually makes a big difference, and is one of like the few things I really liked about this, is it gives them a little bit more development, and it gives them a little bit more background. You get to hear about their story and their plans for the future. And
I actually believe they want to fuck. I didn't believe the last 2 wanted to fuck at all.
The whole beginning isn't them screaming at each other, so you believe their relationship, and it makes them more empathetic, and it makes the shit that happens to them all the more impactful.
It's all, oh, I miss you, honey. Oh, I miss you too. Let me call you again soon.
But for sure, the Kaori in this version is a million times more likable than the Kaori from the manga.
Yeah.
And Tadashi too. He's not in it a whole lot. Yeah, he's barely in it. Okay, so you already mentioned we've got an introduction of some new characters. So Kaori has 2 friends, Erika and Aki.
Erika.
Erika.
I love the way that Japanese people pronounce like traditionally Western names.
Erika. Aki. There's also Shirakawa, who is the videographer who kind of becomes Kaori's sidekick on her quest to find Tadashi.
We call them orbiters, Ryan.
I don't.
I know that one.
Yeah, you know that one.
I know that one.
I don't. I've literally never heard that.
Orbiters are guys that hang around a girl hoping that she'll become single or available at some point so that they can slip in there.
Well, he's not an orbiter. He's a guy who hangs around a girl to get a news story about the girl's fiance's uncle.
That's his cover. He just wants to smash.
That's how they.
That's the vibe this movie.
That's how them DMs get slid into.
Yeah. That's how I've literally hooked. Whatever.
So much editing already.
You're welcome.
So what I thought was interesting is they take a lot of iconic scenes from the manga. Kaori asking to see herself in the mirror, the shark attack and the shark going out the window, the pit of fish, and they don't put Tadashi in these situations, or even a lot of them. They don't even put Kaori in them. They put these third, tertiary characters that they've invented for the movie.
It's so that they can turn them into kill scenes as opposed to just scary set piece to scary set piece.
Yeah,
which again has its pros and its cons. Because if you fell into a giant pit of them little crawling fish, you'd probably get killed by them.
Which is what happens when Kaori's friend Aki falls into the pit of little creepy cockroach fish. She dies. Whereas when it happens to Tadashi at the end of volume 1 of the manga, he blacks out and then he wakes up in the hospital.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's cool. You've been out for a month, by the way.
Yeah, there's more fish.
There's more fish, but we're really more concerned about the disease.
Everything smells kind of bad.
Yeah.
Please leave.
We all wear face masks now. So this is funny. So
your insurance didn't cover this.
Before you guys came over, I was watching The Princess Bride with the kids, and it's at the part where Carrie Elway's fights Andre the Giant, and Andre the Giant, and he asks, why do you wear a mask? I don't trust people who wear masks. And Carrie Elway goes, well, it's really because they're quite comfortable. I believe everyone will wear masks in the future. It was 1987.
Have you seen the theory that like the character he played was actually a bisexual, and like it was enforced because of a bunch of the scenes or whatever that are in it?
Never get involved in a land war in Asia.
No, I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's one of those like articles that like are basically clickbait, and I was reading it. I'm just like, God, why am I here?
Never get involved in a land war in Asia.
No, it doesn't really matter if he's bisexual or not because he only loves Buttercup.
Never get involved in a land war in Asia.
No,
But Buttercup's really a boy.
I've shown that movie to every single person in my household.
well then the
Not
prince would
a single one of them like it.
I think you need to move.
Not a single one of them like it.
They can all die.
Never get involved in a land war in Asia.
No. Go to hell. This movie's a classic. Okay, this isn't the Princess Bride podcast, but that'll be coming soon in the Horror of Babylon.
Hey, the rat's scary, man.
Yeah,
that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
What about the man-eating eels?
Never get involved in a land war in Asia.
No.
Andre the Giant himself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
mean-
big people are scary.
Physic.
I'm starting a land war with Asia.
Never get involved in a land war in Asia.
No.
I'm starting a land war with Asia.
He's one of my all-time favorite people.
That's my favorite line in the movie. You've fallen for the classic blunder.
Okay. Kaori is the main character, but Tadashi also becomes the victim. Basically, the exact same thing where Tadashi gets the disease. He gets taken in by his uncle. His uncle puts him in the machine. Kaori finds him. Is that you, Tadashi?
Fart gas.
Is that my Tadashi? Except Tadashi had like a little cover with the tube going up his ass. He had like a little...
It's a little privacy cover.
Yeah, no, it was. It was like a little white thing that covered it up instead of it like going right up there.
Yeah, it's hot when it goes up a woman.
No, not so much when it goes to a man. And basically it goes the same way where Tadashi runs off and Kaori chases him, and it's the whole like, is he dead or is he not dead? And
Is there some conscious? He reached out for me.
yeah, exactly. And then we talked about this a little bit in our episode of the manga. They kind of simplify the explanation of the machines. Instead of the gas being an invention of Tadashi's grandfather, it was a natural gas that was found in animals in the area. It was discovered by men, and then the Japanese government tried to use it to develop weapons for World War II.
I didn't have to sit there and listen to about how the crawling legs might be self-birthing, re-replicating machines. On top of Japanese spiritus, they simplified it and good on the story, I guess.
Good on them.
You know how in-depth of an explanation I got listening to this at 3 times speed? I didn't catch any of
and
that.
subbed, because you had to read the subtitles at 3
Yeah,
times
I was
speed.
just like, I just watched scenes.
Yeah, because there's no dub of
Yeah.
this.
We should do a fan dub.
For some reason,
Also, what I found wasn't dubbed. Or it wasn't subbed. Like, it
Oh,
just
you're
was
just
literally
watching
people
it.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, scene.
so you just got to see the skronkin.
But, buddy, it just said, yo, and I was half of me that was just like, I don't know that this is actually what this is.
I need you to play Kiari as Cotton Hill when we do our fan dub.
Put it right up my ass!
For the film version, there are more apocalypse tropes. You get to see people looting stores.
Where's your dips?
There's more scenes of newscasters giving updates, of soldiers patrolling the streets and shooting fish. And
Monuments being overtaken by fish.
yeah, people dying in the streets. And at the end, you actually get to see the overthrow of like several major world cities. Like I believe you see Moscow,
Paris.
New York, London. Yeah, all being overrun by these machines. The march of the machines. Okay, so why don't you tell us about the new theme of truth?
Of truth. There is a new theme of truth.
Well, so the new character, Shirakawa, who's a videographer. He gives this background story about how his dad was framed for murder and caused him to commit suicide, and that's why he became a videographer, because quote unquote video can't lie, because
that is not true.
Yeah. He wants to show the truth. And then he has, like, actually what I thought was probably the best line in the thing. What's the point of an information age if we don't know what to believe? Because he realized, video can lie.
That makes sense.
Dr. Koyanagi, when he's dying and Shirakawa's taking him to the lab so he can get in his magical flying machine,
The greatest flying machine.
Shirakawa asks him why he's going through all this, and he's like, well, it's all just to discover the truth. So we've got a new theme in this one. What did you think of the ending of this on its own and compared to the manga's ending?
It tried to add, like, more of an emotional punch. I put the emphasis on try, because it's another one of those sort of zombie apocalypse tropes. Oh, you get on the boat, or you get away, and why can't you come with it? And then they show the zombie bite. That I can't count how many times that's been done in things. It was fine. Other than that, it was.
So the thing that jumped out to me is that the manga ends with Tadashi kind of accepting Kaori's death and then finding another group of survivors, and then them making an honest effort to say, okay, we're researchers, we're studying this, we're gonna be, a resistance, we're gonna find a way to create a vaccine that can save the world. Do you want to be a part of this? And Tadashi's like, yes, and that's how it ends. It's not a happy but an optimistic ending, whereas in this,
at least you can't smell any more carrot.
in this, there's none of that. She gets on the ship with all the other survivors and goes out in the bay, and there's no talk of finding a cure or a vaccine. There's no talk of forming a resistance. It's just like, okay, we're on a boat and we're kind of safe now.
They sort of really emphasized how fucked the world was in this one in comparison.
Yeah, it has a much more dour ending than the manga by Junji Ito. Surprisingly.
They had to make up for all the fun they had before.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Okay, so jumping into characters, just talking a little bit more about Kaori, much more confident, stronger character overall. We mentioned much more likable, and
Black Star neuroses over smell.
Yeah, that is just totally gone, but it's picked up by one of her friends, Aki, who's just continually like going around like, you smell this? You smell this? You guys smell this? If the Gyo anime was a dating sim, would you try to date Kaori, Erika, or Aki, or Tadashi, or Shirakawa?
If Kaori's an option, I go Kaori.
No, okay, she's not an option.
Okay, well, the threesomes I've had have been super similar to the ones with Erika, so I guess I just go with the familiar.
TMI on the horror bell.
I mean, Aki doesn't seem like she's down to have any fun at all, so.
No, I kind of expected them to, like, invite her.
Yeah, it's something. She just... I can hear it. I can hear all... Go for a walk, then. You know what they're doing.
Well, she can't go for a walk. There's murder fish running the streets.
And then she's just like, die.
Yeah, I thought she does kind of have a breakdown, but I thought she was going to, like, burst in on them while they're fucking and start killing people. What were your thoughts on the old Shirakawa, the orbiter, the UFOer?
He's a fine addition. He doesn't add too much. A big theme that I apparently just went right over my head.
What are your general thoughts on this movie?
My general thoughts on the movie?
Yeah.
Is that they tried. That is my general thought. They have a lot of the iconic scenes. They tried to fix some of the, the problems that we all had with it. Like,
yeah, which, like, the characters aren't likable.
Which I thought that was really good.
The explanation is over-explained.
Yeah. And I was like,
and they do fix those.
And I was like, okay, that's good. But then they surround it with so much else.
Yeah.
That I found it super distracting.
It probably could have even been... It's only 70 minutes.
Yeah.
But it probably could have been under an hour and maybe been a little better.
Whoever made this was super fucking horny. And I'm like... Why do you have to insert your horny into the fart gas ghost story?
Kind of like how, like, from a casual viewing experience, like, everything feels like it's peaking to that particular moment. Like, we're all just like, why are we not talking about the sex scene right now?
It's the sewer sex scene from It. We have to get there.
That could also be like you could argue that's like the weakness of the movie. It's just like they had to put in such a ridiculous moment that's all you can talk about the movie.
And then, we kind of we talked about Tadashi and his changes, and Dr. Koyanagi is pretty much the same. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I like that. I like that Tadashi seemed to actually want to be around his girlfriend, even though they never were actually together in this whole movie.
Before you leave, Hef, I'm going to show you the last couple minutes of this movie because the flying machine is in it, but it's not in it until the last couple minutes, and he just does a flyby, it's like Goku on the Nimbus flying by.
If you ever want to watch the Cliff Notes version of it, a reviewer I watch on YouTube, Spooky Rice, does a good recap.
Fair enough.
Kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Okay, jumping into scary shit. What did you think of how they adapted the death stench?
It's strangely not nearly as effective.
I feel like they spend less time talking about it.
They spend less time talking about it, less time emphasizing it. And then when it is around, Junji Ito has a super particular way of drawing. Color kind of detracts from it sometimes. When you color in these people who are bloating with this gas, with this green color, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of gross looking. But for some reason, this black and white picture just looks way better.
So I used to work in a comic book store, and I spent a lot of time arguing with people and defending manga. And one of the main things that people always threw at me is it's all black and white. They never do it in color. I'm like, it doesn't need to be in color. It's hard to explain, but just because American comics are in color doesn't mean they're better based on that.
Sometimes color can help. But in this case, the sounds, the color, everything that they added to it, it didn't feel nearly as Ito-esque in its art. It might in some of its storytelling, but I don't know if you've seen the Junji Ito collection, which adapts a lot of his short stories.
I've only read and watched Gyo and the two short stories,
so
yeah.
They do it's the same thing. When they try to color stuff in, it fills in a lot of the grossness that you can see in the tiny details that he draws. And it's the same thing here when they're trying to adapt the smell. It has this opaque yellow color. Feels less mysterious somehow. It actually feels more like Farcast than it did in the actual Farcast manga.
It wasn't great. And you know what else wasn't great? The PlayStation 1 graphics they used to generate the fish and the shark.
I really love the very first opening scene where it shows the two fishermen and they're looking in the bowl, right?
Yeah, that was
cool. And then
cool.
their faces go... And it's so super slow. And I'm like, oh god, it must be so terrifying. And then I see the fish. I was like, oh, they were just disappointed with the graphics. They want their Kickstarter money back.
The shark, particularly, I found I was mad.
Never get involved in a land in Asia.
I hate being mean to animators because a lot of them are working with horrible time constraints and horrible budgets. But that doesn't mean I have to say it's good.
Okay, let me explain myself better. The artistic choice to put what appears to be a CG animated shark in what isn't hand drawn, because I'm sure it was done on computers, but is a 2D film.
Yeah.
I've always hated that.
It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
It takes you out of the moment as opposed to the manga that has this consistent art style on every page.
If you've ever watched the Ghost in the Shell anime standalone complex, it's what they do with all of the vehicles and all the mechs. All the mechs are that super blocky 3D computer generated animation, and then everything else is just this beautiful, not hand-drawn, but hand-drawn looking animation. And it's just because the majority of the movie was actually very pretty. The key animation on the characters, particularly Kaori, was really beautiful. And then you've just got this shark that looked like it jumped straight out of a Sega CD that's coming right at you.
I didn't realize they actually kept graphics from when they made Blue Sub 6 the first time. I didn't know they had to actually use that over again.
Okay.
As opposed to actually making their own effects.
You've unlocked another hidden memory in me, so...
It feels like it was more of like a budget choice because having, doing a computer graphic model of a shark and then doing the program for it, I imagine is less time consuming and less expensive than having an animator do key animation on a shark over and over and over again.
I agree with that.
So
Still takes away.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why my opinion on this movie is because, again, you have like those 2 or 3 things we said that they kind of sort of improved on, depending on your point of view.
Yeah.
Then it's surrounded by all of this.
Yeah. The circus actually I thought went pretty well. I love the fire breather scene.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It
good.
is the prettiest damn thing. Like the reds and the purples. Color really added to that one for me.
Yeah.
Though I love the black and the white as well. What about Queef Girl?
I want you to know I've been reading that word for the last 10 minutes. And I'm looking at it, I'm just like, is that the word queef?
What were your thoughts on Queef Girl?
I don't have any thoughts on Queef Girl.
Do you know what I'm talking about? When
I do not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
Did they literally have a woman queef in this?
Yes.
Oh my god, how did I miss that?
Please hold while the guys look this up on YouTube.
Okay. I can it's even coming up out of the skirt. Okay. How did I miss that?
I don't know.
You got the little skirty flaps.
Let's get the swoop down from this guy while we're here.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's it.
That's all you see.
That's all. That's it.
And now he's gonna Higurashi laugh here. I love that you not only paid enough attention to notice Queef Girl, but you made a note of it.
Make a note.
Of the timestamp? Yeah. That's what I do.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Okay, Kiss Me Fat Boy.
Why is this movie so horny?
I don't know, but I don't like it.
Literally.
I'm pro double penetration, but not in my horror manga.
Okay, so I went again at 3 times speed and I was not able to process. So what the fuck actually did I stop on?
Oh, she just invites 2 guys over and they rail her.
Cowrie does? Or
No,
her friend Erica.
Erica.
Yeah. Again,
But it does imply that she slept with one of Cowrie's boyfriends, but it doesn't say if it's Tadashi or not.
Oh, okay.
Not that, but
Yeah. Because I had no subtitles that went along with it either.
It was
just like.
And then you get the 3-way scene, and then when Erica dies and she's like looking at herself in the reflection, it shows like these quick snapshots of her being sexy and doing like super sexual poses out of nowhere for no reason, and then a tear falls down her swollen green face because she can no longer get railed by 2 dudes at once.
The best part, not the best part, an awesome part was when the scene before Erica goes in the machine. She has gas coming out of her mouth and fart gas coming out of her ass, and they're going in opposite directions, and it's making her spin in circles. Like she's caught in a dust devil.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So funny.
It's a twister. It's a twister.
I mean, it has all the same silly elements that the manga had, but the format is just, it's so hard to take seriously. I don't know, yeah.
I think part of that was this movie tried to take itself too seriously in parts.
Yeah.
Oh my god, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Okay, King and Koontz. I had you up, Hef, but...
Hef, what's your king?
So my king
Okay.
was at 3 times speed with no subtitles, makes this a thing in my head that is so much more epic than probably what you all got.
Okay.
Yeah, epic is not a word I would use to describe it.
And also, I'm pretty sure I have to go into work on Monday to explain what I was doing on my computer.
I was watching hentai, duh.
So the king for me is definitely just like the. I thought the animation looked good, with the exception of the shark.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, everything else looked real nice.
Towards the end, like the people, like in the walking machines, they're not great, and like the fit. It's really just like the horror pieces that don't look good. Like everything else, it more or less are very pretty. All right, my king. So I thought about making Tadashi and Kaori likable characters. I thought about just the whole circus sequence because I love the circus sequence, but I also. It made me laugh. So okay, this is my king. My king is the first fish that's in the floating garbage bag, and I'll explain why. It's spooky in the manga, but it's ridiculous to the point that I find it hilarious in the anime. And the best part is where Kaori is out on the balcony talking to Tadashi on the phone, and she turns around and faces the opposite way, and then the fish, as if it was waiting for her to turn around, inflates the bag and floats up out of the garbage can and then floats behind her and floats away. Like it was fucking from Assassin's Creed and just waiting for her to take a cigarette break.
Stealth fish.
It's so ridiculous. Daniel, you're king.
The threesome I will not explain.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. All right, and half your Koontz.
My Koontz is I have to be pulled in to work on Monday because I was watching porn on my computer at work.
Good luck with that. Let me know how that goes.
I will tell you all next time I see you how that went.
My Koontz is the shark with the threesome as a medium second.
My Koontz is also the threesome.
Yeah, it's... yeah.
It was my king and my Koontz.
Guess what?
What?
It's time for a top 5.
Top 5?
Top 5.
Yes!
You got. All right, if you've not listened to one of these before, I have been thinking of my top 5 for the past 24 hours. I have my list ready and prepared. We are going to pause the recording and give Daniel and Hef 5 minutes to come up with their top 5 pop culture fish. We will see you back here in 5. And we are back. Hef, since you had a little bit of trouble with this, I'll let you pick who gets to read their list first.
I have to critique mine, so Daniel goes first.
Okay.
I didn't actually put them in a numerical order.
Number 5 is the fish you catch in The Legend of Zelda. Number 4, Magikarp.
Carp, Magikarp.
Number 3 is H.P. Lovecraft's Dagon. Number 2 is Jaws. Little basic fish, but I like them.
I mean, it's classic.
And number 1 is Klaus from American Dad.
Klaus is a good one. He didn't come to mind. All right, I'll do mine because you look like you're still working there. Number 5 is the flying shark tokens from Magic the Gathering.
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
My number 4 is Stanley Uris from Cary Fukunaga's It. That's what happens when you get 24 hours to think of these. My number 3 is Magikarp.
Okay.
My number 4 is former leader of the Sun Pirates, former warlord of the sea, and the current helm officer of the Straw Hat Fleet, Jinbei!
Is this a Naruto reference?
Yes.
That's a Demon Slayer reference.
Okay.
And my number 1, from an unknown state, from the town of Springfield in an unknown state, Blinky the Fish.
Follow that.
Oh, it's not going to be good. Number 5 is Swedish Fish, the candy.
That's a good one.
No, that's terrible. Those are the worst things I've ever.
Love those.
Those are so disgusting.
I just soak them in vodka.
Ew.
Number 4 is the marlin that you ride around in Donkey Kong Country.
I like that.
Okay.
I'll take that one.
Number 3 is Arlong from One Piece.
Mine was Arlong's boss.
Yeah, I liked Arlong. He was just a dick. Number 2 was Gil from Finding Nemo. He's the William Dafoe, like fish.
Yeah.
And my number 1, because now no longer a secret, I had a crush on this animated little character, was Angie from Shark Tale.
Yeah.
Is that
This was the one that Oscar,
Renee Zellweger's character?
Yeah, I liked her a lot.
Okay.
I was afraid.
I loved her little like thing. Like,
I was afraid you were going to say Ponyo, and I was like, I don't want to call Chris Hansen.
No. Angie from Shark Tale.
Ponyo, little
Angie's
fishing
bae.
from the sea.
Watch that movie again. The movie's only okay.
I watched it like last year.
It's okay. Angie is bae.
Tried to watch it with Drake. He would not sit through it.
Okay.
I think it slaps.
It's okay.
Okay, it's time to rank.
Ryan, is this worse than Phantoms?
No, because it has some enjoyable portions. All right, Daniel, you're going first. Your thing is in front of you.
Oh, fuck. This is harder than I thought it would be. Below the Stand 2020, I guess.
And above Firestarter 2022.
Yeah. Highs in the Stand, especially like in the first episode, are a lot more memorable. It doesn't like piss me off the way Chapter 2 does. It doesn't confound me the way that Firestarter 22 does. And Phantoms is literally still just that bad.
Yeah. I'm going to put it in a very similar position. It's going to be my 5th from the bottom, above Firestarter, It, X, and Phantoms, and just below Gotham by Gaslight and the 2 Stand miniseries. So, yeah, I didn't completely hate it, but disliked most of it, and probably wouldn't watch it again without a very particular reason.
I will reserve my vote until after I actually watch it, but I will go in with the mindset that going to try to be objectionable.
Yeah, I mean, if you can be the devil's advocate and come back and go, you guys are idiots, that movie's awesome, then, I mean, sure, bring it. It's great.
Diversity is the spice of life.
Yeah. I will hold off, but I will update you whenever I put it on the list.
All right, homework. Talking about the apocalypse, what do you stand the best chance of surviving in? A zombie apocalypse like Night of the Living Dead and Walking Dead? A virus apocalypse like The Stand? Or the world of Yo?
I think I'd have a chance in Gil World, assuming that that I don't, like, want to rip the fucking nose out of my face whenever I'm smelling this thing. I think that would probably be my best bet.
Yeah.
Because, again, I go in with the mentality that these are fish. I have an idea of how to handle fish.
I think that I stand the best chance of surviving in The Stand, and I'll tell you why. Because I'll either be immune or I won't be.
You literally stole my answer.
Yeah, that's it. Like, every day in the zombie apocalypse is a question. Every day in Gyo, you don't know if a big shark's gonna just take a snap at you. But in The Stand, it's like...
I think Gil would be more, like... I think you'd be able to, like, survive a lot better than the rest of those other ones.
Well, because
with The Stand, you have a fucking god running around, being like...
Only the first year.
I don't know. Yeah. I've never read it. I know of it. I have not read it.
If you get out of that first year, you're good.
Gyo is literally if you took The Stand and a zombie apocalypse and combined them, because there's a virus that might mutate you,
and things that
and there's zombies running around with machine fart gas powers.
I would tame the eels.
You can also just not go to Boulder and not go to Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably go to Vegas.
I probably would have went to Boulder, but I'm a little nerd. I had the exact same answer because the Stand is purely numbers. You're either one of the lucky that are immune, and then as long as you stay out of the line of fire, you're fine. And I also get really annoyed with people who I've met several people who are like, man, I really want the zombie apocalypse. I am going
that
to.
That is a big fandom too.
I am going to do so well in the zombie apocalypse. I'm like, yeah.
Have you ever people say shit like that? And I'm like, do you know what it's like when society falls and you all of a sudden don't have running water?
Yeah.
Or
no, I don't.
Have you ever tried to shoot a moving target in the head?
You don't shoot. You use a blunt object. If you shoot, you're going to attract others, dummy. That's why you're dead and I'm alive.
You want a motorcycle so that you can
yourself.
swing by and hit the stuff on the way through.
Gonna break every bone in your arm.
Right, but you're on a motorcycle and there's 20
Yeah, but you're going to get mobbed by all the zombies that you attracted with the sound of your gun, and you're going to run out of bullets.
Better yet, let's just hide
This is literally every zombie apocalypse, man.
I'm telling you, like these are people that exist. They're just like, man, I'd do so well zombie apocalypse. Like, no, you fucking wouldn't.
No, you'll fucking die, and I'll laugh,
and then I'll die.
But I'll die laughing. Look at Carl over there. What a fucking nerd.
I would have shot myself like 10 weeks ago in the zombie apocalypse.
Squirrel.
Joke's on you. I killed myself before it became cool to do so in the apocalypse.
Quarrel.
Our question for the listeners, do you take your tubes in the ass or in the mouth? Or
do you go ass to mouth?
Do you go... That's exactly what
yeah. Ryan, is it okay to go ass to mouth?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then for further reading, I just listed some horror anime I enjoy: Biohunter, Bloodlust Vampire, Vampire Under D, King of Thorns, Perfect Blue, my favorite.
Oh my god, Perfect Blue left like marks on me.
Perfect Blue is so good. It has the best rape scene in any anime.
Kakurenbo,
that's
Memories,
that's
Akira.
a good 25 minutes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's real good.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you would love it. You could do a bonus episode on that. That's fun.
It's really good. It's very good for what you get out of it.
Yep.
These are like some top tier OVAs too.
Yeah. As more recommendations, horror anime movies?
I have to wait until Uzumaki comes out to know. I wouldn't recommend any of the other Junji adaptations I've seen.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been really excited for the Uzumaki anime. Maybe you should dial it down a bit.
But it looks so good. They're making me don't give me hope. That's been me ever since the trailer.
3 of those you have on your list were mine on mine too. So
upcoming on the Horror of Babylon next week is our next novel episode. We are reviewing The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. If you're a constant listener of the episode, last time we talked about this, Daniel was very confused. He's no longer confused. He understands now. For more information, listen to next week's episode. And then the next week we are kicking off Mermaid Saga adaptations with Mermaid Forest from 1991. The first week in October we are going to read the manga Domu by Katsuhiro Otomo of Akira fame.
Domu.
And then we are going to do our next Mermaid Saga adaptation the following week with Mermaid Scar. And at the end of October, we will be kicking off Season 2. More information to that come on future episodes. But other than that, thank you very much, both of you, for recording with me tonight.
I had a great time.
Always a pleasure.
And Hef, this is the second time you've come without reading or watching what we're reviewing. Third time's the strike, and you're out.
At least I tried to do homework this time. As soon as I realized what the mistake I had made in mistaking Yo for Uzumaki, I wasn't going to tell Daniel about it because I knew he was going to get offended, but then I thought, no, it's funnier if I tell him.
Yeah, that didn't offend me. It was funny.
It's totally fine. It's
a Junji story. They're all literally the same.
It's not like you showed up to an episode for a 1,000-page novel not having read the book.
No, that is not.
Has that happened?
No.
Not yet.
Oh.
Hey guys, so I gave my review of The Stand. You guys,
it's real poopy.
I like how you can trace our excitement through The Stand and its peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
We did not care for the ending.
I'm doing the thing where as I catch up. But I'm trying to catch up on Season 2 stuff so that I can actually be in a few more of those. So that's kind of the precipice right now.
That does seem important.
Stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody.
Stay scary.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at DStarSick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. And finally, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podcast Addict, TuneIn and the iHeartRadio app. Stay scary.
Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. In a land war in Asia. War in Asia. In a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never get in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never get in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never get in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. In a land war in Asia. War in Asia. In a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never get in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never get in a land war in Asia. War in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia.